Guilt and blame are powerful enemies. When bad things happen, we humans tend to blame something or someone for the troubles. But it is especially hard when we are clearly the ones to blame. How do we cope with that? It's a great question. I would say it's easier when you've got a computerized superhero helping you out.
Glitch! Auto stow! Later.
The Quick and the Fed was written by Mark Edens and Lane Richert, with story by Mark Edens and Ian Pearson. The main cast includes Michael Benier as Bob, Kathleen Barr as Dot, Jesse Moss as Enzo, Tony J as Megabyte, Phil Hayes as Hack, Gary Chalk as Slash and Al's waiter, and Michael Donovan as Cecil, Fawn, and Al. The episode begins at Megabyte's lair, aka the Tor, as he has constructed a huge tower powered by a magnet. In case you're not particularly computer savvy, magnets and computers do not mix, so this is bad news. Megabyte is using said contraption to create a portal, though he doesn't explain how, and Bob shuts it down too quickly for it to really matter. The only other thing of note on this opening scene is that Megabyte has a pet gnoll named Nibbles. Remember that fact, it'll be significant later in the series. In the next scene, Bob has returned to Dot's diner to celebrate his victory, and the patrons panic over the presence of a magnet. But Bob reassures them, as long as it stays in the special shieldy he has it in, it's fine. Which means that the shield will fail almost immediately. Got it. Seeing Enzo eyeing Glitch, Bob does the cool uncle thing and lets him play with it.
Jackhammer!
Glitch! Stop! Glitch! Auto stow!
What have I done? Poor Dot, erased by her own brother in the prime of her input-output. She's too young to end file, too young to quit without saving. It's all my fault. If only I...
We'll get her help, Enzo. Don't panic. Doesn't anyone here know how to reverse a magnetic erasure?
Oops. Now Enzo has done it. Dot has been freakishly and severely affected by this magnet, as was expected. Bob dashes off to see Fawn, who still insists on testing Bob in a game of Pawn, despite Bob's protests that Dot's situation is urgent and dire. Bob beats him easily, though.
Now that you have whumped me at my favorite game, you have proven yourself worthy of my vast knowledge and endless wisdom. What was the question?
I told you, it's Dot! She's been partially erased by a magnet, and they said you would know how to return her to normal.
Fawn explains Dot's condition in Mumbo Jumbo, which Bob responds by asking for it again in plain DOS. Hehehe, computer jokes. Anyways, Fawn summarizes that in order to reverse Dot's condition, she needs to consume slow food. There's only one place like that in Mainframe, Al's Diner on level 31. Apparently level 31 is not a place you want to go. Dot protests the best she can, in a moment that always freaked me out as a kid.
Level 31? You damn can't go there. It's too dangerous.
Shh, not to worry. I've got this all figured out.
Bob, but it's my problem too. Use a window to call. Call.
Not another word.
This image left an impact on me. Not only is it kind of creepy, making her semi-transparent, but the representation of seeing a loved one suffering and ill is always an unpleasant scene. I think that is something everyone can sympathize with. Bob tells Enzo to stay with her sister, and he takes off to level 31, which, as visually represented, is sort of the bad side of town. He He walks into the diner, Western saloon style, and walks up to the server. One of my favorite minor characters.
May I take your order?
This is an emergency. I need slow food to go, fast!
Ha ha ha, that's a good one. Hear that, Al? What? Slow food doesn't go fast. That's why it's slow.
This endlessly quotable scene segues back to Megabyte's lair, as he orders Hack and Slash to track down Bob and retrieve his magnet. The two lackeys chatter nonsense before heading off. That's the kind of villain Megabyte is. He only gets his hands dirty as a very last resort. Anyways, back to the diner for a funny joke.
What's the deal with 7? Why is everybody afraid of him?
Because 7, 8, 9!
Can't you process my food any faster?
Look, pal, I gotta feed this whole room. I got a partner on my back for this big takeout order. And Al back there only runs at 3 decahertz. What?
Notice how he mentions a partner and a takeout order. Anyways, it doesn't look like Bob is going to get what he needs. But coincidentally, Providence comes in the form of Hack and Slash, who come, accompanied by Megabyte in a vid window, looking for Bob. Al's waiter mentions already having paid Megabyte, adding a little bit of cool world building. Bob, ducked behind the counter, offers to get rid of these lackeys for a package of food. The waiter complies, and Bob leaps up and leads Hack, Slash, and the carriers on a chase. The pursuit is interrupted by none other than a GameCube. Here we go again. Bob comes up with a clever ploy to slow the two Goonies down.
You aren't going to catch me before the game wall closes.
Oh, yeah? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Because you stop.
Magic Arrow! I think we're gonna do it.
We are
getting so
going
back.
to make it.
We are going to make it. We are going to make it.
We're not going to make it. Cleanup crew level 1.
Moving into our third act, the episode launches us into a game, utilizing the same sort of overall episode formula that has been established thus far. In this game, Castles and Knights, Bob finds himself in a medieval town. Pretty soon the user appears, a white knight with no face. It actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it. The user would never see their own face. There's a certain logic in not bothering to include it in the game. Very clever. Anyways, Bob hears Dot's cries in the distance. Somehow, she's in the game, and apparently held up in the distant castle. Bob finds himself a ride, an honest-to-goodness dragon, which turns out to be piloted by Al and Al's waiter. The user finds his own dragon, too.
Get with the program. If we don't stop that white knight, we're all history.
Okay, here goes.
Nice belching.
I think Al's getting the hang of the furnace. What?
Bob eventually manages to outmaneuver his opponent and head to the main castle, still following the sound of Dot's voice. And now we stop for a moment. The American Broadcast Standards and Practices Board gave ReBoot creators a tough time in its American run on ABC. They had a lot of arbitrary things that were censored. One of which was a refusal to let Bob jump through windows and break glass. I guess they were worried about kids leaping from dragons into stained glass windows. It's annoying, but led to this clever moment.
Glitch. BS&P. Don't bother to get up. I'm just passing through.
Bob's quips are interrupted by a skeleton warrior coming to life. But through some good swordplay and clever maneuvers, he overcomes it. So, the censor board was concerned about windows breaking, but not fighting with blades? Okay, whatever. After taking down old Dry Bones, Bob proceeds to the top of the tower and discovers that the damsel in distress is none other than Enzo, who rebooted as a princess, with a megaphone that allows him to emulate Dot's voice? Either that, or he just does a mean Dot impression. When Bob asks where Dot is, well, she makes her entrance.
She's right there, Bob.
Dot, you're better.
Not for long. I can't fight him forever. By myself.
All right, I'm coming. I don't think so. The icon! Hit his icon!
Bob and Dot give the smackdown to the user, with Enzo delivering the final blow with the megaphone, ending the game. This poor user, up against pros. Once out of the game, Dot reveals that her and Al are business partners, and Dot merely called him up and got food delivered. Bob feels a little silly having run around in the meantime, but the happy slappy wrap-up is interrupted by Megabyte appearing with Hack and Slash. He grabs Enzo and demands the magnet returned, which Bob happily complies with, and has Glitch throw the magnet at his head. Megabyte topples off the platform he was on, and Hack and Slash bail, as Bob tongue-in-cheek asks Dot if there's anything in Mainframe she doesn't own. I have often dubbed the first 3 episodes of the series as the Cheesy 3. They're all great fun, but the Saturday morning feeling is strong here. What's unique about this tale is that the main crisis isn't caused by one of the villains, but instead a foolish decision from Bob and some recklessness from Enzo. It's also the first to really deal with an emotional dilemma, one of guilt in this case. I'm sure Bob feels guilty about lending his dangerous almighty gadget to a kid and threatening the life of Dot. The first appearance of level 31 gives us a glimpse into a new part of town, and really gives that feel of a real place with real people going about their lives. This one has less cheese than the last one for sure, and is still really fun and entertaining. I'm not sure anyone really comes away learning anything, and it's all sort of consequence-free, and Megabyte takes a big stupid pill right at the end. But, like I said, there's great world building, a fun and satisfying game segment, and some legitimate laughs, for first-timers and rewatchers alike. This episode gets a strong 2 out of 3 from me.